The darkness was not merely an absence of light. It was a weight, a crushing, suffocating silence that pressed against the very fabric of existence. Everything was formless, a swirling abyss where time had no measurement and space held no boundary. Imagine waking up in a room where every wall is dissolving, where the floor beneath you is shifting like liquid, and there is no horizon to anchor your gaze. How do you find your footing when there is no ground? How do you define who you are when nothing around you possesses a shape? This was the primordial state of all things, a vast, echoing emptiness that defied meaning. Then, a singular, piercing intent shattered the quiet. It began with a command that was more than a sound. It was an expansion. As the first light pierced the absolute black, the chaos was forced into submission. What was previously indistinguishable became defined. The light was no longer consumed by the dark. It was partitioned, set apart, granted a purpose. This was the moment order was born from the raw materials of confusion. In our own lives, we often find ourselves drifting in this very same primordial soup. We feel the weight of days that lack direction, the pressure of a million scattered thoughts, and the paralyzing sensation of being overwhelmed by our own potential. We exist in a state of internal turbulence where we cannot tell where our dreams end and our fears begin. The ancient narrative teaches us that greatness does not emerge from ease. It is forged in the crucible of separation. To build a life of resilience, one must become a master of boundaries. You must look at the swirling clouds of your daily life, your habits, your distractions, and your anxieties, and intentionally separate the light from the dark. You must delineate where your energy is spent and where it is preserved. Order is not a natural occurrence. It is a deliberate act of will. By carving out a sanctuary of structure amidst the noise of the modern world, you cease to be a victim of your circumstances. You become the architect of your own reality. The light has been provided, but it is your responsibility to ensure it illuminates the path rather than fading into the shadows of uncertainty. Define your territory, enforce your boundaries, and watch as the chaos begins to take shape. The architect of the cosmos looked upon a masterpiece of verdant landscapes, whispering winds, and life teeming in every crevice. Yet a profound silence lingered in the air. For all the magnificence of the heavens and the earth, something vital remained absent. The narrative pauses here, offering a striking revelation. In a universe teeming with existence, there was a void that could not be filled by the inanimate. It was a realization of fundamental incompleteness. Have you ever stood in the center of an accomplishment so vast, a goal you worked years to achieve, only to find the silence of your own solitude ringing louder than your triumph? We are often taught the modern myth of the independent titan, the individual who carves their path through sheer, solitary will. We worship the image of the isolated genius, believing that to need another is to admit a deficit of character. Yet, the ancient wisdom tells a different story. Even in a state of perfection, existence remains incomplete without the resonance of a mirror, a partner, or a community. This is the psychological imperative of human connection. We do not just crave company for the sake of comfort. We require it to define the contours of our own identity.
Your blind spots are the very things you cannot see without someone standing across from you, offering a perspective you lack.
When we isolate ourselves, we are prone to the echo chambers of our own ego, where our errors grow magnified and our potential remains tethered to the limits of our singular experience. Resilience is not a solo endeavor. It is a collaborative survival strategy. To build a life that stands the test of time, you must audit your inner circle. Are you surrounded by individuals who act as mere echoes, affirming your every impulse? Or do you have people who serve as the other, those who challenge your assumptions and hold you to a higher standard? A life built in a vacuum is a fragile structure. It lacks the architectural support of shared wisdom and collective accountability. True strength is found in the alchemy of connection. When you allow others into your process, you are not surrendering your independence. You are strengthening your foundation. We are meant to be a chorus, not a monologue. By integrating the perspectives and strengths of those around you, you transform from a solitary point into a multifaceted structure capable of weathering the greatest storms. Community is not a luxury. It is the ballast that keeps you anchored when the currents of life turn turbulent. The golden light of the garden had begun to wane, and with it, the sanctuary of innocence fractured. A veil had been drawn over the pristine clarity of the beginning, replaced by the heavy, suffocating shroud of dissonance. As the quiet settled, a voice echoed, seeking truth amidst the shadows. Yet, instead of an admission, the air grew thick with the frantic shifting of burdens. A finger was pointed toward the horizon, then toward the companion, then toward the subtle whisperings of the wild. It was the first instance of a human reflex that would echo through the corridors of time, the reflex to deflect. We find ourselves in this scene more often than we care to admit. When our own choices lead us into the dark, when the structure we have labored to build begins to show fractures, our first impulse is rarely to survey the foundations of our own design. Instead, we scan the periphery, searching for a culprit, a circumstance, or an external influence to carry the weight of our disappointment. We become masters of the narrative, spinning tales where we are the perpetual protagonists victimized by the plot twists of our own making. This is the central irony of our development. We possess the profound capacity for agency, yet we frequently abandon it at the first sign of discomfort. The moment accountability touches the ego, the instinct to retreat into the comfort of blame becomes overwhelming. But consider the cost of this displacement. By shifting the responsibility for our outcomes onto others, we surrender the only power we truly possess, the power to change our trajectory. We effectively declare ourselves prisoners of an environment we refuse to reshape, choosing the temporary solace of innocence over the permanent strength of ownership. Resilience is not merely the ability to weather the storm. It is the courage to stand in the center of the debris and recognize the architecture of one's own decisions. Radical accountability is not a burden. It is the ultimate liberation. It acknowledges that while we cannot always control the circumstances that confront us, we retain absolute sovereignty over our responses. When you stop blaming the serpent, the environment, or the unexpected detour, you reclaim the compass of your own life. You shift from a passive observer of your failures to the intentional designer of your restoration. The garden may be lost, but the ability to cultivate a new landscape remains firmly in your hands. The atmosphere grew heavy with the heat of smoldering expectations. There is a precise, chilling moment in the human experience when a heart, once vibrant with hope, begins to curdle into resentment. In the quiet fields of the early world, this internal temperature rose, unnoticed by anyone but the one carrying it. A shadow had taken root, not an external specter, but a burgeoning internal darkness born from the seeds of perceived inadequacy. The spirit of the individual became a vessel for a volatile energy, a pressure that sought a release, yet lacked the guidance of a steady hand. Then came the voice, a solemn resonance cutting through the haze of growing discord, offering a profound warning that remains the most critical insight for the modern soul. It spoke of a crouching presence, a dormant threat waiting at the threshold of one's intentions. It warned that this temptation, this shadow, would seek to dominate the landscape of the mind. But the mandate was clear. The potential for mastery lay entirely within. The challenge was not to eradicate the emotion, for emotions are the weather of the soul. The challenge was to govern the climate before it could manifest into a storm. We all harbor these inner canes, the triggers that fire when our efforts go unrecognized, when our competitive instincts warp into envy, or when the weight of our own frustration begins to cloud our perspective. We feel the creeping urge to externalize our internal turbulence, to let our private disappointments dictate our public interactions. This is the perilous friction of the human condition. When we fail to govern the impulses that stir within the quiet corners of our psyche, we allow them to dictate the architecture of our actions. Resilience is the discipline of the pause. It is the ability to recognize the crouching temptation at the threshold of your consciousness, that sudden spark of irritation, that whisper of comparison, or that pull of self-pity, and to look it in the eye before it gains momentum. You are not defined by the emotions that visit you. You are defined by the sovereignty you exercise over them. To be truly resilient is to develop an internal governance so robust that no trigger, no matter how sharp, can compel you to compromise your integrity. By mastering the reaction, you effectively neutralize the threat, turning a potential collapse into a calculated victory of character. The chronicles of the dawn of time are etched not in grand monuments, but in a rhythmic, somber litany of names. The narrative slows, shifting from the volatile drama of singular choices to the quiet, steady march of generations. Each entry follows a hauntingly consistent cadence, a span of years, the continuation of a lineage, and eventually, the inevitable fading of a life into the silence of history. It is a record of existence stripped to its most fundamental elements, a testament to the fact that while the human story is vast, the individual contribution often appears as a singular, fleeting note in an eternal symphony. We are prone to measuring our worth by the volume of our applause or the immediate visibility of our impact. We live in an era that prizes the spectacular, the viral, and the permanent. Yet, this ancient genealogy offers a more profound perspective on significance. It reminds us that the vast majority of our journey will remain unrecorded. There will be no statues erected for the mundane Tuesday, no archives detailing the persistent, quiet labor of raising a family, honing a craft, or maintaining one's integrity when the world is looking elsewhere. This realization is not meant to diminish the individual, but to liberate them. If the weight of being remembered is removed, the focus shifts to the quality of being. Resilience is found in the willingness to show up when the spotlight is absent. It is the quiet fortitude required to act with purpose even when your influence seems invisible and your efforts are subsumed by the relentless tide of time. The strength of the lineage was not found in the momentary brilliance of any single figure, but in the unbroken chain of sustained effort. Legacy is not a destination you reach. It is a tapestry you weave with the threads of consistent, daily action. It is the accumulation of small, faithful choices that bridge the gap between one generation and the next. By committing yourself to the excellence of the present, regardless of whether your name is etched into the stone of history, you contribute to the essential foundation of what follows. Resilience, at its core, is the humble acceptance that while your life may be brief, the influence of your character is a ripple that continues to move long after the surface has smoothed. Your life is not merely a segment of time. It is a vital link in an enduring design. The rising tides of change are an inevitable constant in the human experience. As we look back across these first chapters, from the initial imposition of order upon the formless void to the necessity of building an ark amidst a shifting world, one truth emerges with crystalline clarity. Resilience is not the ability to prevent the flood, nor is it a magical shield against the complexities of life. Rather, it is the mastery of the vessel you are building today, brick by deliberate brick, long before the currents begin to swell. We have explored the architecture of your reality, the power of meaningful connection, the liberation found in radical accountability, and the disciplined governance of your inner impulses. We have seen how a life defined by intentional consistency creates a legacy that ripples through time, even when the world remains unaware of your labor. The ancient narratives serve as more than historical accounts. They are an invitation to examine the foundations of your own character. When you feel the weight of uncertainty, remember that the most profound transformations occur in the quiet corners of your own decision-making. You are not a passive observer of your destiny. You are the architect of your own arc. The strength required to weather the storm is not something you discover when the waves are high. It is something you cultivate when the waters are calm. It is found in the habits you solidify, the relationships you nurture, and the integrity you defend when no one is watching. As we conclude this series, hold on to this. You possess the innate capacity to bridge the gap between chaos and purpose. The challenges you face are not signs of a failed design, but rather the raw material from which your resilience is forged. Look at your life with the eyes of a builder. What are you constructing that will withstand the turning of the tide? What values are you anchoring your spirit to so that, when the landscape shifts, you remain steady? The flood may be inevitable, but your ability to rise above it is a matter of preparation, focus, and unwavering character. Carry these lessons forward, not as abstract ideas, but as practical tools for your daily life. The blueprint is yours to follow. The materials are within your reach, and the project of your life is waiting for your next intentional move. Begin now, build well, and stand firm in the work you have chosen to create.